with people, organizations, and events that create community in and around Richmond Hill. A very culturally diverse community with lots of trees and streams and interesting people. On this podcast, I have the pleasure of speaking with Ingrid Taheri. I have known Ingrid for almost 15 years. She's the person behind High Notes Avante. Welcome, Ingrid.
Thank you so much for having me, Marj. I haven't seen you, but this is lovely.
Yeah, no, this is good. I'm glad we're able to connect. But first, Happy New Year. Did you have an enjoyable holiday?
Happy New Year to you, Marj. Yes, it was an amazing holiday this year. It was different than other years because this was my first Christmas and New Year's as a grandmother. So we have the now 9-month-old baby boy that has joined our family and just spread so much love and joy. It's a completely new life, but one that I'm really enjoying.
Oh, very nice. Love to hear that. Now, Ingrid, it does seem like just last year you were doing the first High Notes Avante gala. I believe you did them for about 10 years. I know they were a lot of work, but are there a lot of fond memories from doing them?
Of course, lots of fun memories. I mean, the reason that there was one gala is because there was a lot of enjoyment for me personally to do it as well. Really, it was supposed to be one gala, but then the feedback was, this is nice. You're doing something important. Please do it again. So it continued and continued and continued. And I guess for a while, that was the only thing High Notes Avante was doing. But then we kind of started to do some other things. And there were a lot of other organizations out there as well that started to do more mental health things. So I didn't think it was so important for us to spend as much of our resources to plan the big annual gala as we were doing. So we're shifting focus, but it doesn't mean we won't have a gala sometime in the future again.
Ooh, keeping my fingers crossed, looking forward to that because I so enjoyed them. And you got to know some remarkable people doing these galas, correct?
Yes. I had the Grammy awarded singer-songwriter Dan Hill. I'm to record music with the choir that was formed during the pandemic. I actually had some, email exchanges with him, which was quite interesting. I met Lloyd Robertson. I saw the studio where he was working at before he retired, and he came to one of our galas. And not least Luba Goy, the comedian that when I was a newcomer to Canada, I still remember laying down on a little tiny white love seat in a little tiny apartment at Davisville and Eglinton, watching Air Force on a Friday, and her being on there and us laughing at her. So it's been amazing to become her friend and have her involved for all these years as well. So, I mean, there are others, there are some musicians that are hottest musicians under age 30. So, for example, Michael Bridge and Jolanda Bruno, amazing people and amazing personalities. We have Ron Korb, also a flautist who has won some Grammys and recorded wonderful music. Amazing people and stories of people with mental health issues that persevered and moved on to living wonderful lives, which is what it was all about.
Yeah.
To inspire others to move on.
Yeah. You're bringing back some very good memories of those concerts. Yeah. But let's backtrack. Why does High Notes Avante exist?
Timing was right. The timing was right. I think people were just starting to speak about mental health issues. There was a mental health issue that touched me deeply personally, and I was probably a little bit bored of my status quo teaching piano and so on. I had some experience putting on events for my students, and I had this vision that we could do something for mental illness in the same style as Grammys and, TED Talk and so on merged together, and gave it a shot, enjoyed it, and had enough time at the time to keep on going.
So one of the questions is, why did no more galas? Why did you stop? Or you said you might redo it again, but why have you paused?
It's a lot of work. So we are partially funded by many different sources, and the gala is not a inexpensive undertaking. We are not funded by anybody for that in particular. And we also cannot use it as a fundraising tool because it actually costs us more to put on a gala than we will get in for ticket sale. From the beginning, the idea was not really to make money from doing this gala. It was to share the magic of music, what it can do to our mental health and connect people together and our understanding of a social issue that really needed attention. So music was used to bring people together and to understand. So unfortunately, the main funders didn't really understand the need for us to continue with that, and we chose to conform. We do smaller events now, so sort of a similar idea, but not with 10 performers, maybe one or two. And we also use it as an opportunity for our students in the High Notes music program to shine.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about this program. Now, you're offering group singing classes and music lessons. Let's first talk about group singing. We've just finished the Christmas holidays. We're recording this on January 6th, which really is a 12th day of Christmas. One of something that made me so happy over Christmas was getting together with people and singing Christmas songs. I am not a singer, but I absolutely loved it. I know I'm not alone. Can you describe the positive effects of group singing?
I will do my best. So we are just going to start them up. So we haven't actually done them yet, except for small events where the group singing was part of it. I don't know if you remember, but I co-wrote with Alan Shiner. We all have a story, which we call our mental health anthem. And that was performed at the latest gala and also at a couple of events that we did lately. So being in that room and singing that song together with others was a wonderful feeling for me as well. I have personally been in choirs as a child, and it just like you, I share that joy. Forget about what I think about it and what you think about it. There's actually a lot of research that has been done about the positive effects on people, both with mental health issues and all kinds of other issues, singing together. Stress is being reduced. There's saliva in your mouth that has some hormones which reduce stress. So they're taking samples of that it's decreasing when you sing together with others. It stimulates your brain. It just gives you that nice, cozy feeling when you are sharing an experience with other people. It is proven that singing together is good for your mental health, your physical health, your overall well-being. It's also a lot less expensive than individual singing lessons, which we got a lot of requests from when we were running the High Notes music program. So what we decided was that we're going to stop the individual music lessons, not individual music lessons, but individual singing lessons, and instead offer this group singing experience once a month, starting January 1st, which also happens to be, High Notes Avante, Let's Sing Day. Let's just put it that way, if you know what.
Okay. I like that. So
Yeah.
starting on January 21st, you're going to be offering these programs, these singing, like what happens?
Yeah, so there's a place on our website where you can fill in, just express an interest. You're not really committed to coming each time. We just do it once a month because when we tried it every week, we found that it's hard for people to commit to be somewhere at the same time and same place every week. So once a month. And the music that will be sung will be based on the requests that we are getting from the participants. So anybody that's available on a Wednesday from 5:30 to 7. It's going to be at Long and McQuaid. They have very generously offered us the space at no cost, and a wonderful musical theater woman. Her name is Alison Smith. She was one of our teachers when we offered the individual lessons. She's going to be leading the group, and she'll be doing a wonderful job on that. I have seen her in action, so it's really exciting.
Very nice. I will put the link for this signing up in the podcast notes. So very glad. I'm going to keep in touch with you and see how it is going. And I think you've answered one question I had was the type of music. Like, is it just uplifting, making feel good music? Or I guess it depends on what people
It
really
depends
want
on
to sing.
what people request, so that's why we would like for people to actually register at it and just show up. We would need to know how many people are there, and each session could be different. It just depends on who is
Yeah.
attending.
Okay.
She's well, most likely we all have a story will be sung at each occasion because that's our theme song. So we like people to know about it.
Okay. Let's go on to the music lessons. Now,
Mhm.
you are a piano teacher, but you are not one of the music teachers. And there are more than just piano lessons offered, correct? And where are the lessons offered? And I'm wondering about how are teachers selected?
Oh, well, there's a lot of questions. Let's start with the beginning. Yes, I am a piano teacher, but I do not teach more than my own private students anymore. I would not be correct, and I don't have time to teach to people in the High Notes music program. We offer piano lessons and guitar were the main instruments because those are the basic ones from which one you can explore and learn all kinds of other things. We have some people taking saxophone. We have some people taking ukulele and even harp. But the basic instruments are guitar and piano because you don't really need to be that musical in order to play the piano, as long as you can place your fingers and press down. And there's a lot of benefits with coordination and brain and, opening up your mind and so on that we won't even get into that come from just attempting to play music. We are mainly supported by participating at Sea Gaming at Bingo Road in Richmond Hill, which then is overlooked. The funds from that is overseen by the city of Richmond Hill. So most of it is happening in the city of Richmond Hill because of that reason. We do have some students in Markham. We have some in Newmarket and even in the city of Toronto. And we will be doing more in the city of Toronto in a few months too, because we are going to be participating in charitable gaming there as well to support our expansion to Toronto. And we have had a lot of requests from there too that we had to turn away. So we don't have a location. High Notes Avante doesn't have a physical location. We would love to have one, and we are working on that, but we don't know yet if it ever will get one because it can be quite costly. So what's happening is that when we get applications in from students, then we also have applications and a roster of teachers in our database. So we check to see who might match, and then the teacher usually teaches out of their own studio. So we find the teacher that's closest to the student applying. We also do rent some space. So, for example, Richmond Hill United Church is one of the locations that one of our piano teachers is teaching from. And I think there's another place like that too, somewhere else in Richmond Hill.
How are the teachers selected?
Well, based on their credentials. So we ask them a whole bunch of questions when they fill in the application form. And then I speak to them to figure out, whether they are legit, and just
Yeah.
uh, we ask them why they want to teach for us. So usually there's some kind of personal connection to mental health or mental illness or wanting to do good with music. The other thing that we ask is that they do mental health first aid training so that they can be understanding of what's different about teaching, perhaps what's different with our students than their regular students. So, have done music therapy in addition to degrees in music. So they're really, really qualified music teachers. So if somebody was taking these lessons without our support, they might have to pay you know, $50, $60, maybe more for half an hour while we are supporting this.
Okay. So the funds you receive pay for the teachers is a teacher's fee.
Yeah.
Okay. So the person who's receiving the instruction does not pay, correct?
They are more than welcome to make a donation, but they will definitely get, if they're approved, the first 10 lessons at no cost. And then after that, we do ask them to make some kind of contribution just because there's a lot of administrative work involved. And on occasion, we have so many applicants that we have to turn people away. So in order not to do that, we ask them to help us.
Okay. So there is a waiting list then for students?
At the moment there isn't, but we did have one. Like
Yep.
it's funny because funding comes and goes. So sometimes we have to put a stop on thing. And then now that things are working out well again, it takes a little while for it to start rolling, right? So we're a little bit afraid to jump ahead. So if somebody would like to apply right now, it might be a really good time. We might accept them.
Okay.
Uh,
So what if the student doesn't have an instrument, doesn't have a piano, doesn't have a guitar? Do you have solutions?
Definitely. We were just awarded a Music Counts grant, which is an organization that's associated with the Juno Awards for instruments for our instrument lending bank. So if somebody would love to learn the piano but don't have a piano, they can ask us if they are allowed to borrow a portable keyboard. On occasion, some of the libraries may have instruments as well, but we also have guitars that we can lend out to our students that don't have one already.
That is good to hear. And now I believe I've heard you've organized student concerts. Is this just once a year? Can you tell us more about it?
Well, we haven't been doing all this for all that long, so it's
Okay.
sort of a work in progress. But we just had one in December, and I am quite certain that there will be another one in the spring. Sometimes the students are a little shy about performing, so they might be very small and intimate. Sometimes the teachers just include them in their own student recitals, but definitely it's more than once a year. Yes.
Okay. Now, does the choir, the singing group participate in this?
Well, we're going to have to wait and see, won't we? Because we
Okay.
haven't. But
Yes.
hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. There's a lot involved in what you're doing. Now, I have learned actually through you how
Mhm,
difficult it can be to get charitable status.
mhm.
Why is it such a arduous task? And why did you persevere?
Oh, I mean, it's quite a privilege to be a registered charity. It means that you're allowed to write tax receipts to donors. And I mean, it is supposed to be good within four pillars that the government has established. So a lot of people, maybe for not so noble reasons, would like to become a registered charity. So I guess they have put some steps in place to make sure that the right people and the right organizations are given the charitable status. So we had a few questions being asked, and you just have to keep on answering them and telling the truth. And it didn't take that long. In hindsight, it just seemed like it at the time.
Okay.
And, it's just, you have to make sure that things are happening according to the law and, when you're giving donations, that it's going to the right things. And why I persevere with it, I guess it's sort of we want to leave something behind. We want to accomplish something in your life. And I feel that High Notes Avante and sort of using music and the arts as a way to bring good into the world, good in people, healing when there's so much going on outside of here, so much greed, so much, just for personal gain and selfish reasons going on, that we need some beauty and some escape from all that. So I really, really believe in that. And I'm very grateful that I also myself came from a background that I had that privilege. And I think the reason I had the privilege was that Sweden, my home country, they offered a subsidized music lesson. So kind of working on getting something similar going here with the mental health promoting benefits. That's the main reason.
Okay. Very nice. Now, I have this perception that there are so many funding opportunities through government funding, private organizations, businesses that are willing to fund mental health initiatives. Have getting funds been easy?
No, it hasn't.
Okay.
It's hard work. It's really,
Yeah.
really hard work. As a matter of fact, I had a hard time sleeping for most of December because I really didn't know where funds would come from for all those expenses that are not covered by the funding that we do receive. So, like a charity, like any other business, we have overhead, we have to pay for some legal fees when we update objectives and things like that in the charity. We have to pay for an accountant, we have to pay for bookkeeping. there are softwares, there's the internet. Well, there are some people working for probably the first almost 10 years. I worked for no salary at all myself because I really just believed in it. But I do need to take some money home too, and I do put in a lot of work into it. And that is not covered by the funding that we are getting on a regular basis. So I spend a lot of my time writing grant applications and a lot of time waiting to find out whether we've been successful with our grant applications. And sometimes we have a really good grant application, but we are still not approved just because of competition, right? There's a lot of different organizations looking for the same type of money. So I would say it's not easy.
Good luck with all of that. Now,
I should add that we actually have just created a fundraising committee, and we are meeting for the very first time to do a fundraising workshop this week at the new cultural house in Richmond Hill. We got a workshop that a consultant is going to do for us and some volunteers. So hopefully that will bring in some much needed funds for areas that we don't have it right now.
okay, keeping my fingers crossed.
Thank
So
you.
now, High Notes Avante does offer other programs that I think they were created really in response to the COVID lockdowns. Can you talk about these other programs?
I can. But as a matter of fact, most of them are probably not running anymore. We did have a
Hmm.
book club for a while, but this sort of, when people started to get together in person, the online version of that became less and less popular. So we decided to discontinue it. We've had a movie club also created during the pandemic where once a month people got together to discuss movies. That's actually also transitioning right now. Hopefully, it will be approved to be funded as a mood club rather than a movie club. So rather than just getting together with others to discuss movies, it could be a variety of things like going for a walk in the woods and, smelling the leaves in the fall or, maybe discussing recipes that make you feel better, healthy ingredients that boost your mood. So that's something that's brewing. We also just found out that the wonderful Trillium Foundation is funding our request to create 9 workshops around the theme of We All Have a Story. So we're going to be working on exactly what that's going to be. Starting probably in March, April, we'll offer the first one. So there might be a workshop around comedy and how that will, express yourself through comedy and see maybe one painting, maybe music, movement, creative movement. So we always try to find new things to do. But at the same time, we always need to make sure we can fund it. So it's,
Please keep me abreast of what's happening there.
yeah.
Now, you had mentioned to me that you might be expanding into Toronto. What does this expansion mean? And why did you expand to Toronto and not, say, Barrie or Hamilton?
Well, I mean, as I said, we sit around and you wait for applications to become approved, and in the meanwhile, you just keep on applying elsewhere. So the most lucrative funding for us has been for us to send volunteers to bingo ward in Richmond Hill, and there are other such, they call them charitable gaming centers, where they donate about 40%, I think, of the proceeds to a charity participating. So there's like 60 charities participating at Bingo World in Richmond Hill, and there may be the same amount at various gaming centers around the city and the province. And we didn't know that we could apply to be part of another one until recently. And because we do get requests from Toronto as well, we applied for that. And it took a while, but we will be starting that probably in March or April at the latest. And we have always had people in Toronto saying, "Why are you not in Toronto? Why are you not in Toronto?" So, hey, we're going to be in Toronto.
Okay, okay. Good reason. Now, you had been working with Cosmo Music, and they've been closed for about a year now. I know they were very community driven. So they've
They
been
were,
taken over by Long and McQuaid. Can you tell us about Long and McQuaid?
I have nothing but good things to say about Long and McQuaid. Long and McQuaid was probably the first musical institution that responded to High Notes Avante when we started in 2012, 13, 14, whatever it was, after becoming doing our first gala. The marketing manager, Sherry Katz, supported us from the very beginning and has done so all this time. So when Long and McQuaid took over Cosmo Music, I approached them again just to say, congratulations, it's wonderful that you're there. We will miss Cosmo, but hey, good for you guys, you're there.
Mm-hmm.
I had a meeting with the person running the music school and the owner or manager, and they're very positive towards us as well. So that's where we are going to be offering our group singing sessions, I guess I will call them group singing sessions.
Okay.
Normally, that can be quite expensive to do, but they're offering it for us at no cost. So I think they're making a really good first impression on me anyway, as the owner.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Well, if somebody's listening and they think what we are talking about sounds intriguing and they might want to be part of it, we are actually hoping to recruit a couple of new, both volunteers and board members. There will be some people who will give up their seats in the summer. So if anybody's interested, feel free to get in touch. Particularly do need help with fundraising and maybe outreach communication. But it doesn't mean that other roles won't be welcome. And it could be for just a couple hours as a volunteer at one of the bingo centers, or you can be a little bit more deeply involved. So please do reach out.
Okay, so yes, your information to contact you will be in the podcast notes, and yeah, please reach out to you. Now, I always end the podcast with the same question for all the guests, and I have just started at the end of December changing the question. So I'm now asking, if you had a magic wand and could make the world a little better, what is one thing you would change in the world?
Oh boy. One thing. Well, let's see. I would wave my wand in front of all these people who are so greedy and so selfish, making all decisions based on their own personal gain rather than the overall good that we can do for humanity if we work together.
Well said. So thank you very much for that. Now, but really, thank you, Ingrid, for taking the time to do this podcast.
Thank you, Marj. It was great to see you, and I look forward to seeing you again.
You're very welcome. Thank you for listening. I would appreciate you sharing this podcast. Consider emailing me at Marj, M-A-R-J, at marjandre.com. I would welcome suggestions for podcast guests. Let's stay connected.